Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to For the Love of All Things Film. I'm Tanner,
Nathan.
Amanda.
and we just wanted to pop in and give you guys a little bit of our opinion on American Psycho, a Christian Bale film. It's twisted, it's dark, and it hits in all the places that you secretly love and don't want to admit. So we're gonna start off, kind of talk to Nathan, see what he thought about the film, and just kind of move on down the line. So, what you got, brother?
I've seen it several times, and I know this is the first time you've both seen it.
Yes, we watched it last night. Kind of had a recap now as we're doing the video, and I can definitely say I loved the movie.
It's a really good film because you kind of just see this guy unravel. You see Christian Bale, just how just cold and how like I can't think of the word. Why can't I think of mechanical and kind of just methodical.
Yeah.
And so he's just constantly going through this daily routine, and then occasionally doing kind of crazy things, and it gets more and more.
Yeah, it escalates.
It escalates into something where he lets into his passion.
Yeah.
And then he pretty much it all kind of unwinds, and then this is where the spoilers, if you haven't seen this.
If you haven't seen this by now, I mean, I know I'm new to it, but I mean, we're quite a few years.
It's been over a decade.
2001.
Yeah.
2001 is when they made it, I believe.
It's been a long time.
So, spoiler city.
But anyway, the twist ending is big because you kind of you understand that this entire thing is all in his head, and he isn't Patrick Bateman, and you see that he confessed for no reason, and that this whole entire tale there was no purpose behind this whole thing.
Right. Well, and then at the end when he confesses too, like, they don't believe him. They don't believe that he is who he thinks he is because it's all in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this progression of a person that in the beginning seems normal and seems like just any one of us, and he's just going through life and he's doing his day-to-day thing. You know, right, yeah. We're not on Wall Street. We're in like Southern Missouri Street, and there's
Southern Missouri Street.
We're on a street?
To quote Deliverance, we're at the corner of Bum Beep, and you got a pretty mouth. So, but you see the progression where his obsession overcomes him
mm-hmm.
to the point that he can't even control it, you know, and that's different than what you see in most movies, especially of this genre. In my opinion, most of the movies like this, it's all about control.
Yeah. And
in this case, he's losing control of everything that has made him who he is, and he falls apart. He can't take it anymore, you know. But what do you think about it?
I mean, I don't have much to say other than that. Like, I liked it, and I thought that it kept your interest, and it kept you wondering
Pardon the wind in the background. We got the window open.
Just like what was going to happen next, and then you just, I don't know. Like it just, I don't know. I feel like after you guys talked, I just didn't know what else to say, so it just
and I found it interesting too, with the fact that he had his sexual escapades
mm-hmm.
with these women, and to me, it didn't seem as much about the sexual escapades as it did the control of it. He didn't care what was happening. He cared about himself.
Yeah, that's exactly his narcissistic tendencies to fulfill what he wanted to do.
Right. Like I mean, like I said, like it just didn't matter. He wanted everything focused on him. It's why he, in his mind, created this alter ego, and not even an alter ego. I mean, he was just pretending to be somebody else that was a real person. Like I said, in his mind.
Yeah.
And he just became this different person that he could not control, even though he tried to, and he thought he had control of it. He could not. He just couldn't encapsulate everything that he thought he was being, and in the end, it just overtook him and became more than he could handle.
Yeah,
you know, and I feel like that kind of has a way to apply to people today in a different aspect,
mm-hmm.
but it's just that with social media and things like this, like I know we've talked about this recently,
This was before social media.
right, and
So-
it was almost like a foreshadowing of what was to come, unbeknowingly. He became this person that he thought everybody was seeing, and then that caused him to confess, and he was getting in trouble, and it wasn't who he really was, because it was who he was in his mind, and his mind overtook. And it's almost like I said, it's like social media, where you've got Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and YouTube and all of these other things where you can become somebody that you're not. And then the person that you're trying to become or wishing you could become can overtake you, and then you just can't handle anything other than that. Like, I feel like that's a good way, in my opinion, to summarize it. I guess you could say, like, they were almost ahead of their time in this movie, because they didn't know what was to come with social media and things like that. But like I said, that's just my opinion.
Sure, yeah.
But who made this? Let's see. Nobody that's really big named.
I actually probably know.
You probably know.
It's directed by Mary Herron. I know the name, but I couldn't tell you much about it other than that.
Yeah.
It's a good film.
It's a good film.
It's one of Christian Bale's kind of breakthrough kind of roles that you see early on in his career, and you can kind of see that he is good with whatever he's going to be set to task.
Yeah,
for.
he's definitely a character actor.
Mm-hmm.
He can get into whatever role he needs to get into. I mean, I'm assuming most of you, but we've saw him in Batman.
Yeah.
As those roles. Even though you couldn't understand Tom Hardy in the last one, we can't blame Christian Bale for that. But I mean, from The Big Short to American Hustle.
Have you seen The Machinist?
The Batmans.
That's
I have not. That's the one where he loses a ton of weight to play a role.
That's where he gets into a crazy role.
Yeah, and that's what's really nice about him, is he tries to do everything he can to actually be the person that he's playing. And you don't see that a lot. Like, we've seen that with
not American actors.
Especially not American
British actors. You see that a lot more.
Absolutely. I mean, next to him and what he does, I mean, the person I think of is Heath Ledger with the Joker. The way he encapsulated himself in that role and tried to actually become who he was trying to portray on screen. I mean, we all know the unfortunate ending that he had with taking his own life, and it was mainly, from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but because of that role. Because of what it did to him, and then the press that came out later with people like Jack Nicholson saying, like, be careful taking this role because of what it can do to you to try to become this person. I mean, he's just you just can't go wrong with a Christian Bale film, because he definitely sinks his heart and soul into whatever character he's playing. It doesn't matter who, what, when, where, whatever it is, it doesn't matter at all. He definitely goes all out to give the viewer the best experience. But I mean, all in all, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the movie?
I'd give this movie like an 8.5.
What about you? I know you haven't said a lot. Sorry, I've been like stealing it.
Yeah. An 8.
An 8. I'd have to go probably with somewhere between an 8.5 and a 9. Like, I like how it makes my mind think. Because you kind of find yourself jumping into his shoes, trying to figure out what he's going to do next and what he's even doing now, because what he thinks he's doing and what he's actually doing are two completely different things. But I mean, it's absolutely a very good movie.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
Huey Lewis in the News?
That's part of the movie. Oh,
sorry, I was on a different train of thought.
Yeah.
And then Huey Lewis in the
Well, it's quirky. The movie's quirky.
It is. It definitely plays into a lot of
and
different.
The book is darker. I haven't read it. Yeah, it's based on a book.
Really?
And yeah.
Drop some knowledge, man. Drop some knowledge.
I haven't read the book, but I know it's a lot darker, and there's a lot more. I think there's a rape scene in there, and more, darker things than that. So, Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy book and it's a crazy movie, but I think it's overall a good kind of character study. And
Yeah.
I'd say it's a movie that just to kind of watch because it's like a postmodern kind of film. It really doesn't have a purpose per se. And that's what postmodernism in art kind of is there's no purpose to it besides the fact of just maybe it's just good to see how what the capacity of a human being could possibly how far someone can go
Right.
in their own narcissism.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hey, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Like down below, share, tell all your friends. Don't forget Nathan's channel that he has. We'll put a link down there too. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. That was kind of what we thought of American Psycho, and tune in for the love of all things film. Thanks. You guys have a good night.